and Dayton Grafman had established their careers and raised daughter Lynn in the Chicago area when dear friend Virginia Piper encouraged them to relocate to Arizona. After visiting Mrs. Piper here, they loved what they saw and moved to the Valley of the Sun in 1976. Dayton, who passed away in June 2008, was a talented concert pianist, skilled professional fundraiser, performing arts organization leader, and tireless mentor to many rising pianists. He began his local career as head of a nonprofit that assisted Mexican orphans, then became the vice president for development of the Phoenix Symphony. He later served as the senior development officer for the College of Fine Arts at Arizona State University. Throughout his career, he was affiliated with the Steinway Piano Company, recognized with a Steinway Award for Community Service in 1968, and received the coveted Steinway Artist designation in 1991. He was one of only 100 artists to be honored with a Steinway Gold Medallion commemorating the piano company's 150th anniversary. As soon as the Grafmans arrived in the Valley, people recognized Dayton's expertise in the performing arts. Many individuals and groups sought his guidance as a performer and fine arts advocate. He quickly befriended the director of the then-new Scottsdale Center for the Arts, Bruce McDonald, and got involved in a variety of volunteer roles at the center. For over 3 decades, Dayton served on the boards of the Scottsdale Cultural Council and the Scottsdale Center for the Performing Arts. Dayton's contacts and connections throughout the international performing arts community enabled Scottsdale to attract stars who would not have otherwise stopped here. Dayton also served on the Phoenix Symphony Board for 20 years, including a year as its chair. The lives of thousands of Scottsdale and Valley residents and visitors have been enriched by the classical artists he attracted and the ongoing programs he created. Many enjoyed concerts where Dayton himself was the star performer. Dayton Grafman always had an eye and an ear for new talent. In the late 1970s, he convinced the Scottsdale Center for the Arts to book an up-and-coming young pianist with an unconventional keyboard format, Jeffrey Siegel. Perhaps Dayton's crowning achievement, however, was creating the Evenings with Steinway concerts in 1988, which showcased both the world's foremost pianists as well as emerging talent. This continuing series, now known as the Virginia G. Piper Concert Series, has a worldwide renown, and artists strive to become a featured performer. This series has helped ensure the vitality of classical music and introduced many new audiences to classical artists and performances. Dayton Grafman left many legacies in Scottsdale. In addition to his successful concert series, the Scottsdale Center for the Performing Arts established the Dayton Fowler Grafman Endowment for Classical Music and named the center's atrium in his honor. Although music was his passion, he was totally devoted to his family. He will always be remembered as the quintessential gentleman, adoring husband and father who was an impeccable dresser with quiet charm and a smile as genuinely classic as his music. Laura Grafman, who had earned impressive credentials in college financial aid and fundraising in Evanston, Illinois, got her start in Scottsdale in 1976 as a volunteer at Scottsdale Memorial Hospital. She rose through the ranks of the hospital's auxiliary, serving as its president in 1981 and 82. Working with her friend Virginia Piper and other hospital and community organizers, Laura was involved in the creation of the Honor Ball in 1976, now a multi-million-dollar fundraiser for Scottsdale Healthcare Foundation. She was also one of the founders of the auxiliary's Health Adventures in the Park. When her term as auxiliary president ended, the hospital president told her they didn't want to lose her leadership expertise and wide range of community contacts, so they enticed her to join the hospital's development office staff. Her first big project was to plan and create opportunities to give presentations for prospective donors about a second hospital at 90th Street and Shea Boulevard. This was followed by her assignment to plan all of the opening events for the new hospital, including the dedication. The hospital raised over $5 million, then welcomed First Lady Nancy Reagan, who cut the ribbon at the January 1984 opening of Scottsdale Memorial North. Meanwhile, Scottsdale Memorial Hospital created Scottsdale Memorial Health Foundation to become the philanthropic arm of the hospitals. Laura Grafman became the foundation's executive vice president in the early 1990s, and served as acting foundation president several times. During the 1980s, the foundation raised funds for a multi-million-dollar expansion of the Osborne Hospital's Emergency and Trauma Center, followed by a $2.3 million campaign for the first cardiac catheter labs and open-heart surgery suite at the Osborne location. Acutely aware of the community's great need for comprehensive cancer care and research, the hospital planned to build a cancer center on the Shea campus. Laura became the foundation's point person to raise funds for construction of the Virginia G. Piper Cancer Center in 1999 and 2000. Laura, explaining her passion to create such a center, said, "When we saw how many people in our community were affected by cancer, I knew we needed to work harder to raise enormous dollars to establish the center. We conducted a quiet capital campaign. As I look at what it has evolved into since opening in 2001, especially the exciting research element, I know that we give hope to patients and their families who would not have had any hope in the past." Laura Grafman, a gracious, caring, and enthusiastic woman with an elegant sense of style, puts her personal touch on every project she undertakes. In 1990, she was honored with the Association of Fundraising Professionals' Outstanding Fundraiser of the Year Award. Laura is known as a great relationship builder with a keen sense of what is good for the community. It was perhaps for these reasons that friend and confidant Virginia Piper named Laura as a lifetime trustee of the Virginia G. Piper Charitable Trust, established after Mrs. Piper's death in 1999. Laura and her fellow trustees have been privileged to award over $250 million in Piper grants in the Trust's first 10 years, continuing the interests of the Trust's compassionate benefactor in supporting healthcare and medical research, education, older adults, children, arts and culture, and religious organizations. Laura and Dayton Grafman's 58-year marriage was a match made in heaven. For over 30 of those years, the Grafmans dedicated their careers and volunteerism to making Scottsdale a cultural and healthful oasis. Laura continues their good work, inspiring others with her passion and purpose.